first, you talked about a show indirectly. You talked about
Mm.
a show that meets the needs. Like it
Yeah.
has to be meeting the need of
Yeah.
people. That's the
Yes.
only way it makes sense to them. You also talked about you liking money. My CEO will say if we're not making money, it's not making sense. So I mean, as you're meeting the need of somebody, you're also making money. And then the third one is evolving, which means that even when you started off with a particular thing, you evolved because you evolved to suit the needs of people from the feedback that you were getting. So I'll also like to ask, so for intending presenters, I mean, you've had your experience in this industry, right? So we would like to know, as a presenter, there's this competition in the industry, but at the same time, there are so many people there, so you need to also pay attention to your competitors, right? So I
Yeah.
would like us to talk about you as a presenter. How can
Mm.
you how can you set a brand for yourself? You have interest in this. How can you set a brand that sets you apart from the rest?
So the truth is, everything has competition, but you look at it as a competition if you are there to trend. Do you understand? Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of podcasters, they just want it to be that their podcast is what is on every blog,
Mm,
and not necessarily even in the right light,
mm,
just so that their face is on blogs and their name is on blogs. I
mm.
don't care if my podcast never ever makes it to a blog, but
But the
at
truth is,
least
it always makes it to blogs. So we want to
yeah,
know
but
the
that's the thing.
secrets.
My goal is not for it to even make it to blogs. My
Okay.
goal is for it to make it to people's hearts, the people that needs it.
Mm,
Because let me
mm,
tell you, it was one day I was having a quiet time with God, and I was like, what is it about even talking? And he opened my eyes to something. He said, everything is an art, even talking is an art. You see,
mm,
singing is an art, but he said, but the most important one is talking. Why is it that whenever
mm,
somebody is depressed, want to commit suicide or down, you don't go about singing for them or dancing for them? You start talking
mm,
to their soul. You start
mm,
talking to their inner mind. That is the
mm,
only way you can take that person out of that situation, because you're
mhm,
speaking to them.
mm,
And so the Holy Spirit told me that I don't want you to just think that you are just talking, or you're just showing up fine
mm,
face and just make up. You are actually talking to people's spirits. And whenever
mm,
it gets to the anything you are putting out should be able to change one person, even if it's one person.
mm,
So I am not in competition with the people that want to be famous through their podcast or be trend or enter trends.
mm, mhm,
Only me know what I see in my DMs. And when I
mm,
see it, it makes me fulfilled that even
mm,
one time I dropped one episode, and I had
mhm,
over 5 people said that they almost committed suicide,
mm,
but because they listened to my podcast, that
mhm,
they cannot they are seeing life in another light.
mm.
So I cannot have those kind of people and want to be talking about controversial things, because to be honest, it's only controversy that would take you to that kind of trends. I
So
know how many people
are
have.
you saying controversy is bad? Because we've seen some people have controversial shows, and then
Mhm.
yes, they make it they trend actually. They trend,
Okay,
and
okay.
so for instance, if it trends online on Instagram, people want to go and watch the full video, and
Mm,
it translates to cash too. So are
okay,
you saying those people are not doing it the right way, or
okay. So I am not saying they are not. Remember, I said for me, I honestly, if God wants to bless me with podcasts, that's fine. But I really didn't get into it because of money. I have other
Mm,
businesses to give me money.
mm,
My channel on YouTube is even monetized. The day that God says it will peak and start having millions of views, I would make money. But I would never go out of my calling or my instruction just because I want to get money.
mm,
So it is good. What the question is, what do you stand for?
mm,
I am my goal. Okay, what is your goal? My goal is not to trend. That's the first thing. My goal is not to trend. My goal is not to be even famous. I don't care about it. My goal is if one person can listen to my podcast and be healed or be saved or be inspired or motivated, that is my
mhm,
goal. So now every podcaster have a goal. Some people, have you noticed that some podcast hosts, they will bring a guest. The guest will say a lot of things that made sense. But when they are bringing out clip, cutting out clip to
mm.
put on the internet, they will cut
You
out the
take the
rubbish.
controversial
It's
part.
the nonsense that the person, they will make the person look like, they will make the person look like the person did not go to school or the person is
Mm,
foolish.
mm. And some
So
people are also very gullible. They won't go and watch the full
no,
clip.
who cares? Nobody have the time. That's what I always say. I don't have, even me as a podcaster, I don't have the time to come and say I want to go and watch the full video. I don't care about that.
Mm, mm,
The clip that I watch should be able to convince me that this
mm,
video is a good watch.
mm,
But so many podcasters don't really care about the back end. They don't care about you bullying them or bashing them. All they care is you
mm,
are talking about them. Their name is on your lip. That's
mm,
what they care. But that's not what I care for. Do you
mm,
understand?
mm,
And honestly, I have a brand that is bigger than me. I have a
mm,
brand. My business is bigger than me and my podcast. So I cannot use
mm,
because I want to trend and mess up my
mm.
business. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, so in summary, you're saying stand for, know what you stand for.
In summary, I'm saying if a purpose is not known, abuse
Mm,
is inevitable.
mm. That's deep.
That is what
If
I'm saying.
if your purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Inevitable. And that's why you
Makes
see so many
sense.
people. Yeah, so many people today, they're talking about different things. So many people are talking about
Mm,
trendy things, gossip. My podcast would heal somebody even in 10 years' time. My podcast every topic, every episode stands the test of time. If you
mm.
go to
I
the
think
first
there's
one,
this interview you did with is it Coupe?
mm,
This what there's a word they use for them now.
mm,
Um this the blessed, is it blessed? I'm trying to remember the word now. There's a word they
what do
use
they do?
for like people that are not so complete, like people
Special
that have
needs.
some,
Okay, autism,
yes, special,
autism.
yes, exactly,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Mm,
The guy with autism,
yeah.
I feel like that was really beautiful, and I feel like every intending presenter here should check out that interview. It was because I mean, he even trended on TikTok
Yes.
everywhere,
Yes.
and I think that's where I also now fell in love again with your brand,
Mm,
because I mean, so many people were just using the guy for skits, but it's
yes.
how you now
But I
look
used
at
him
it
to
from another.
educate us.
Oh, exactly. So I think I love that. And it showed that, funny enough, and I think that's what you've said it all. I think purpose says a lot, because unconsciously, as you're trying to chase purpose, you are also making that money. At least, like you're making the numbers, because these things still trend, right?
Mhm.
Thank you so much for doing justice to those questions. Now I would love to move to Mr. Emmanuel Alade, the CEO, because so as a presenter, let's say you know your purpose, you know that the goal is also to make money, you try as much as possible to create shows that will meet the needs of certain individuals, and you're ready to make your evolve. But as an employer, I mean, you've employed quite a lot of people, and I know that when people put out job vacancies, they list like requirements. Okay, you must be good looking, you must be this, you must be that. But you as you as the person selecting the individual that would be employed, what are those features? The very, not the popular ones that we all know, but the features that set an individual apart, and you are like, no, this is the person we should take. What are those features, unique features that presenters need to have for you to get you know attracted to say, okay, this person has got it in him or her.
Yes, yes, yes. Am I audible? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we
One,
can.
two. Oh, fantastic. Apologies.
Yes.
Um, I was thinking to Birmingham. I didn't know I'll get caught up like this. But yeah, big shout out to the truth. You were spitting the truth, so that was good. Um, I think the first thing first is purpose. I think she also mentioned saying if your purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Even goes beyond that. That's one thing you need in actualizing destiny. Finding
Mm,
purpose and
mm,
understanding. And I think that always comes true in any interview. How do you find purpose?
mm.
Quest for knowledge is quite important. Um,
Your voice is
if
quite low now, sir.
is it low now?
Oh,
Oh,
it's
geez.
better. It's better now.
Is it better now? Okay. So I would say, what is finding purpose? So it's knowledge. Application of knowledge is very, very, very critical as a presenter. Very critical as a presenter. One of the things that people need to know is how you use words. You know, First of all, like she said, your word is powerful. It's the tongue that you're using, and how do you pierce into soul? What's convincing in terms of when you open your mouth. They say you tell people who you are, by the first instance in terms of speaking. And as a presenter, that's one of the gifts that you have. And that comes through in an interview. And for you to be able to speak and also impact, it comes from a place of knowledge. It comes from a place of experience. It comes from you understanding your purpose first and understanding what you need to be able to do in order to achieve that. And I think for me, what stands out mostly is seeing people that already understand purpose, that understand, and that have something that they're standing on in terms of the understanding. Understanding is what is it that you're standing on? What is the basis
Mm,
of your knowledge?
mm,
And I think these days, like you said, people chase money first, even though money is good. Like what she said, money helps you
mhm,
to actualize destiny. But main
mhm,
thing is instead of chasing for money, chase for how you can impact. So, like what she's saying, irrespective of what the topic is about that you're talking about, irrespective of what it is during the interview, as long as the response you're given, is coming from a place of delivering and connecting with people. It
mm,
doesn't have to be, you preaching, but your interpretation is very, very important as a presenter. Your interpretation of knowledge, your standpoint of impact is very critical. And for me, even beyond beauty is good. As a presenter and all that, like you said, but beyond that,
mm,
what brings out beauty is, what comes out of your mouth. Like I said, when you open your mouth, you tell people exactly who you are. And for you to be able to
mm,
impact, for you to be able to distribute knowledge, it comes from your experience and what you spend time in your closed door,
mm,
trying to build yourself. Um, I used to listen to a
mm,
motivational speaker that what she's you need to have like a mentor. Speak to some presenters, for example, if they don't have a mentor. I want to be on TV. I want to, and it's true that
mm,
they mention a mentor, but they don't study. They study to show yourself approved. Which means for you to be approved, you need to come from a
mm,
place of having a constructive learning.
mhm,
A constructive learning that's not necessarily required in classroom.
mm,
People say now that you don't necessarily need to go to university to be able to make it is
mm,
true. But you need to have a constructive learning platform. where you're able to go and understudy. You look at people that
mm,
they're already in the field, they've already
mm,
practiced what they do, and you try to understand
mm,
the journey that took them there.
mm,
Don't just look at the pictures online. Don't just
mm,
only watch the video. Try to understand the narrative. Try to understand the story. Because beneath that, you will
mm,
understand why they got to where they are.
mm,
People like financial.
mm,
Although we live in a spiritual world, but still, you still need that practical process to be able to actualize destiny and to be where you are. But I think that's what's across, not just what it
mm,
presented, it cuts across board in terms of the youth feeling purpose,
mm,
in terms of
mm,
to action. You as a presenter, there will always be a standpoint where your knowledge will be tested 100%. You as a
mm,
presenter, you think
mm,
at least other presenters. When a question is being put out to you and you need to be able to respond. And that is where people can
mm,
understand who you are, by the interpretation of
mm,
how you're able to impact them and pierce into their soul. And also,
mhm,
even the last
mm.
when
Oh,
when
I
people
think his network is bad. Okay. Please, can anybody hear me? I need to be sure. If, okay. Okay, okay. We can hear you now. I think the network from your end is bad. Mm.
okay, I follow up kind of better now. But yes, so I don't think I'm sure did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes, you did.
Because
Yes, you did. So
I can keep going on and on.
okay, so for the purpose of because the network was shaky and I'm not sure
Oh,
everyone heard, but I was able to pick out the points. So I'm just going to rephrase briefly. So I think the most important thing you talked about is what you say from your mouth defines who you are. So you as an employer, you look out for, the purpose, the person's purpose, and also like how the person, when you throw questions at intending presenters, the way the presenter is able to, answer the question, the way the presenter is able to, speak about it, it shows that okay, there's purpose. And also it talked about the fact that impact, a presenter that is willing to be impactful, and talked about the fact that you don't look at the money first, you look at impact. And I think another important point is as a presenter, and I love the fact that he also mentioned that not just as a presenter, really, I feel like in every area of your life, like if you're a professional in any field, you should have a mentor. And according to him, he said it's not just saying, okay, I have a mentor. Like most people say they have mentors, but they do not study these mentors. So, I mean, so as a presenter, if you're saying you want to be a presenter that stands out, I know that our boss made us as presenters to there's this task it makes us do regularly, which is to beyond broaden your horizon, like look at presenters beyond Nigeria. Like I said, sometimes you send us links, even despite the fact that he's not the presenter, he will send us links from different presenters. And I'm not talking about Nigeria alone. I'm talking about like people from different countries. And I feel like that's one very important point, really, because as he was speaking, I was imagining being in an interview and you're in front of your employer or the HR team, and you have other contestants, and they are like, who is your mentor? And you have like notable mentors in that same field to talk about, and you cannot just knowing them, not just saying, oh, this person is my mentor. They can, because the truth is you can be in an interview and throw a name, And that person might be so informed. And the person's like, oh, are you serious? You listen to this person? Oh, Oprah Winfrey. Oh, okay, tell me something about this show. You watch this show. So if, for instance, you as a presenter, you say that is your mentor, that is your favorite, person that inspires you, and the person interviewing you knows more about your mentor than you, that the person is your mentor, then I mean, I feel like it's a problem. So I understand that. Um, so I'm going to bring on that boy V. Like I said, is a reality star, and I know that the feedbacks while he was on the show, I know that the feedbacks, because he had people like Iniedo, like celebrities being the judges, and they always give like feedbacks after his shows. So I know that he would understand feedback very well. So that way, we want to know from the audience point of view. You are in the entertainment space, and when you're performing a song now, you will know when your audience they are feeling you and when they are like, more. So, as
Mhm.
an audience, looking at the different shows that we have on TV, I know there are some shows. So I'm going to give an example. When I was, I don't think Labi Liary is still on TVC for lunch break. Abi lunch. There's one show that was really popular then, but I really loved it. She was able to attract my attention as young as I was then, and then she was also able to attract the attention of elderly people. So, a show that could cut across the young audience and also the elders. So I was so interested. And one day I was speaking to a presenter friend of mine, and I was like, what's so special about this lady? Like how, there are some shows where you have just young people love the show. And then there are some
Mhm.
shows that is just adults, maybe like all this label on and co now. I know that my mom wants to watch it because this person is saying odd things, and you know how elderly people can be with adage, all those kind of. But we slip off when they are watching those shows. But
Actually,
when we now see a show that elders are interested, young people are interested, there's a reason. So you as a member of the audience, what would you say attracts you in a presenter or the presenter's shows when that makes you stay glued to that presenter amongst the different many shows and presenters that we have?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Can we all hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can.
Okay. So, thanks for that brief introduction. I really appreciate. It's a pleasure being here. And so I'll just speak on a couple of things. Um, we have a lot of things that people don't really pay attention to, especially the presenters. When I, look up your show, I turn on the TV and I'm watching. There, are, like, I have options. There are many channels for me to, and as I'm scrolling, once I hop on your channel, your show is playing, the things that keep me glued are either the background, the way the show is, what it looks like, the background gets me, the presenter's looks, is dressing and all that, if you're there's a way you dress and I'll know that okay, look at Ibuka for example. They always talk about his outfits at any um whether it's Big Brother Ninja or anything. They always talk. It's so he makes a statement with stuff like that. Then your voice, your tone, your diction. It all depends on what what the show is about. There's some that will require you to speak pidgin. Some require you to speak fluent English, and everything should come together to bring about a very very interesting show. Human beings are very funny people. We have very short attention span. And once I look at you, maybe you're performing or you're presenting, if you can't get my attention in 10 seconds or 15 seconds, I'm off to the next show. I'm off to show. I would base my judgment of your show based on that 10 to 15 seconds or 1 minute highest. So I realized that there are different types of shows, different presenters. We have the for podcasts where maybe you're not necessarily watching the person, you're hearing what they're saying. It's um it's a different ball game. So in a case whereby the only power you have is your voice, that's the only thing. I'm listening to you. Let's say it's a radio or it's a podcast. You have to get me, like, you have to interact with me. You have to, what you're talking about has to be very, very relatable. If not, I'm off to the next radio station or off to the next. And also your voice is also very important when it comes to um um podcasting or radio presenting, because there's this program I used to listen to when I was little. Village Square. Village Square. I love, the way the presenter, you know, the introduction, the way she introduces the show, it keeps me glued in. Like, okay, I really want to know what this is about. I really want to know what's going to happen in this episode. I will stay. I literally, and then another thing that people, podcasters or radio presenters need to look out for is their soundtrack. There's some, background music you play. Let me tell you this for a fact, yeah. That background music, it will live rent free in the ears of your listeners. Anywhere, anywhere they hear that soundtrack, they know that, okay, this show is about to start or this show is coming on. These are little things that people, the presenters don't really pay attention to, that actually keeps the audience glued. Look at big shows, big um radio programs or TV programs. Your soundtrack actually, goes a long way. Then I'll talk about okay, your vibe as a presenter, as a person, your vibe needs to be, don't come and bore us with, okay, even if you are going to be, let's say, telling us about news, there's a way you can pass that news across to us, even with your vibe. Don't let it be, don't just be jet lagged about it. You get, there is that time when I was in secondary school, most of us used to see radio as a very serious thing, up until Beat FM came up in Ibadan. The way they were dropping their news, it was, it made the youths want to even listen to news. You get, the presenter will come as in a very, very classy, fashionable way. We just drop the news and we'll be like, ah, mad. So this is news that my parents used to, so it got us intrigued, and we wanted more. And then you need to carry your audience along. Carry your audience along. Whether you're a YouTuber or you're I know it's very hard for some people because as YouTubers, it's just you and your mic. A lot of people don't really realize that I am reaching out to a large audience, because in reality, it's just you and your mic in a small space. You get, so it's hard for some of them to like carry people along. When for you, you just have to imagine that these people are around you. You get, so as they carry your audience along, whether you're a show presenter or you're going for a performance and all that. So I feel like these few points, yeah.
Okay,
These people.
I mean, few, but very strong points actually. Very because you know, there's a point you. I was still telling my younger brother. He was showing me something, and first 10 seconds, I didn't get the message. So I was telling him that, see,
Right.
the truth is, oh, attention span. OT short, and you know, I was teasing him that Agbatin day. That's like, you know, I'm getting older. But my younger brother now responded and said, "Well, it's not even a matter of Agbatin day. Even the young people on Instagram that once is scrolling and okay, he's saying, where exactly is this person going to? If there
Actually,
is no point, it will just scroll up." So I totally agree with the fact that you know your intro should be catchy, and also I know you talked about like sound, which I don't know if that's what you meant. Like they are sign-in tune. They are these sounds that are peculiar to the shows, and that's very true because, for instance, there's this um Inkombe is very similar to Labeon. You know, there was a time when a guy came up and was trying to mimic all these very legendary shows.
very true.
Once you sing it, I think they saying Inkombe, like everybody,
Yeah,
so everyone could relate. So I feel like that's really very important too. And then you talked about like looks, which is also I totally agree. Like, you know, as a presenter, you must even be attractive. Let the look of the show, let them even some people. I've had friends who would say, "Do you know how I got to love this show? Is because like this person they slay. I just fell in love with
that's
this
good.
girl, but I say I
Even
still
if,
here with this fine girl."
even if you have to borrow some things, even if you have to borrow, because nobody will know. Nobody will know. So you just have to look good in front of camera.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the way you dress is always how you be addressed.
Actually,
And
very important.
if you're doing that, you should go. I think in to add to your point, I think you had a very valid point, and it goes. Can everybody hear me? By the way.
Yes, yes, we can hear
Okay, and
you.
it goes. Yeah, it goes all in terms of overseeing the lifespan. If you're as a presenter, you need to look at the lifespan of your show. Is it short term? Is it long term? Or even what you're trying to do, and then you think about the totality of the packaging. What image are you trying to sell? You know, what impression are you trying to give to people?
Yeah,
And then from there you start looking at the branding, the soundtrack, everything, because it goes beyond your voice is the first one, but there are other ingredients that makes up the whole meal that you give to people
yeah.
to consume, and you want them to be satisfied, you know, after consumption. And from there, you'll be thinking about, okay, what kind of soundtrack? I like the fact that you mentioned on Compare for those, you know, that used to listen to that radio show. And I think you mentioned something very, very critical, that radio used to be something in the past of, you know, very serious.
Yeah,
People don't want to tune into it because, you know, this is where you hear this kind of news, that kind of this. But now there's transformation to that. There's more kind of fun coming to it. There's more delivery. There's more personality, and that's what you're bringing to the table. Your personality as well is what helps people to take in the information, consume the information, and you know be able to take it back out. So, which is good. And I think branding. A lot of people underestimate the power of branding. You know,
Brandon.
very very critical as well. It's not just, oh, you know, you might have the right voice, if you don't have the right character to go with it, if you don't have, you know, the right kind of and again, being a presenter, you know, you need to be able to diversify, or more so you need to be able to adapt. You know, you need to be able to adapt to different situations, be able to adapt to different personality that you will meet as well as a media personnel, you know, and be able to read people, read the room very, very quickly, you know, and be able to, again, you know, hold your ground in any kind of, but for you to be able to do that goes back to your knowledge, to your experience, to your character building in the process as well. So a whole lot of ingredient, but I think, yeah, very powerful points for my aspiring one. Sorry, but I just thought I should chip in.
Yes, very important. Thank you so much. I mean, I feel like there's just a lot that has been learned, and even myself as a presenter, I've learned more. So,
I just Sorry, I want to ask a question
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
please.
sure.
to the guy. So when you talked about soundtrack, what do you think about putting on the ground soundtrack? Is it called soundtrack now? Beat, yeah. On the ground
Yes.
beats,
Mm,
like on top of a video, like a short video, like a reel. Because
mm.
it's like, you understand what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
Like a
for
presenter is
podcast,
speaking and then the
yeah.
song is going underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
but also not just for radio, also for, like, you see when you see podcast videos flying around. What do
Mhm.
you think it's okay to put beats underneath the video?
Well, I feel like since it's something that you would be doing, you know, every time, like every episode of your podcast, having a very interesting background sound. Once people are simultaneously, listening to your voice and listening to something soothing, I think they do it with all these what do you call it, these yoga people now. Yeah, hey, you see that they have soothing music that suits what they are doing. So if you have a kind of song or a kind of background sound that would suit what you are doing, it already sets like what there's something Mubad says. Music no need permission to enter your spirit. So if the music is in line with what you are talking about, that's a total package for your listeners. They are listening to your voice simultaneously, and the audio is also passing the message across too. And before you know it, it becomes inseparable. Anytime they hear this sound, even if they hear the sound outside your podcast, they're like, oh, it reminds them of your podcast. So I feel like it's an advantage. You just need to know the right audio. Don't let it be an audio that would mislead people, or that would let it do a lot of research into picking your be intentional about the audio you use.
Very, very beautiful question. I think I should chip in this for people also come in. When we're talking about audio, please also know that there's copyright involved. So, in terms of owning your own audio, it means you need to be able to either, buy a copyrighted one, have a producer that can, create something for you that is owned by you to avoid copyright issues, when you're posting your content, and as well for it to be very, very unique to you. I think something that he also mentioned is for these yoga people, because sound has different kind of tempo, and there's a reason why a particular sound can enter your headspace in the word of Mubad. But you need to be very, very intentional about your soundtrack, and being used to how you want it to be interpreted by your audience, and if you also kind of match the aim or the theme of your show, be it a podcast, be it a whatever it is your show is about. So that's also very important. So a show is not another person's soundtrack that you kind of put together to avoid any other issues with anybody, or being sued, or people
Yeah,
collecting royalties of your content.
yeah, that I agree with that. And who says you can't have something original? You see, this guy. Let me give this guy an example. Oga Sabinu, so Oga Sabinu, so you see, he actually created something original for his content, and anywhere you hear that sound, you already know it's Oga Sab. You're already thinking about somebody on a blue shirt with black trouser, crazy tie.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
that's
hmm,
his trademark.
hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I wish we had like enough time. But right now I would like to move on to the question segments so that like the presenters, intending presenters themselves can ask um but before I do that, I would love to, because I know so many people joined in late, I would love to briefly reintroduce the speakers. So we have Chidetsi, She's the host of the very popular and impactful podcast, The Truth Spot. And I mean, she's been amazing. I think that you should just go on Instagram and check out videos. You're going to be your data will finish. So yes, and she's been able to help us out with, what inspired her to before starting our own podcast. Although in her case, it wasn't like she intended to just, create a niche for herself. It was a calling. And but after following the calling, she did now turn deaf ears to people's needs. So she paid attention to, like, meeting the needs of people. She also was open to evolvement and, a lot more. And I also said we have the CEO of Afrobeats Global, who is an architect, an entertainer. In fact, every time he reviews new sites, we just recently found out that he's a drummer. So many, many, many things. So, and is he spoke about, like, being an employer and what he looks out for when he's trying to employ a presenter.
Val, are you there? Or is it just on my side? One, two.
I think it's her network.
Okay, while we're waiting, I guess we can take on question just in case if you have any question um, from any from the audience. If there's any questions so far, um, please feel free to ask. Feel free to drop a message if you're shy to speak up. But how long have you been doing the presented for the truth? How long have you been doing it for?
I started August 2022.
Oh
I
wow.
started before, yeah, I started before it was a thing. Even me, I didn't know what it was. But like towards the end of 2022 to 2023, a lot of people started doing podcasts. And yeah, so I had to still remain where makes sense. I
Was
don't know
there
if
any
that makes sense.
was there any challenge at the start to start?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. So um at the beginning I used my money. That's why I said money helps you fulfill destiny and for living your purpose. In the beginning, I used because I met with my producer at the time, and he was like, "Oh, you buy this." I have everything. I have my studio. I have my personal podcast studio. I have my lights. I have my mics. I have my everything, right? And aside from that, you have to also, there are so many things to do. So in the beginning, I was like, God, this month, even my live show that I did, although I had sponsors, but I 5 million came from my own business money to do that show. So that's what I'm saying. If God wants to bless me with podcasts, I'm open to it. Though I have other means he can bless me with, but to me, it's I'm just happy being able to get feedback from people saying that because of because of the episode I did, they are now better. They did not commit suicide. I just felt like I'm just living in my purpose, and that's it.
That's good. That's good. Been impactful. I think that's very, very strong. The boy
Mm.
V, in terms of singing, songwriting, which one do you enjoy more? Which one brings you out in terms of fulfilling purpose? Or is it both?
Well, in terms of singing and songwriting, more. I think I sing pretty well, but songwriting is what sets me apart. You can have a lot of singers. Sure, there are a lot of singers out there, but you don't really have a lot of good songwriters out there. That's majorly why you have people winning singing competitions, but after the competition, you hear nothing about them. And most of the times, those people that are like, first runner up, second runner up, they're the ones that you end up hearing at the day. What makes you stand out is the songwriting. And before songwriting became a thing of, before songwriting became a lucrative business, people always, they're always, how do I put it now? We don't patronize songwriters like that.
Mm.
So as a singer, it's assumed that you have to groom yourself into being a good songwriter. So
Mm,
yeah, but now
that's
it's a
it.
thing that it's a thing that people just have songwriters, to pay them, and so me, I had to learn the hard way. So yeah,
Mm.
songwriting makes me stand out. Aside singing, I'm also very soon I'll be a certified builder. I'm in my
Mm.
final year studying building in Unilag.
Mm.
Fantastic, fantastic,
Yeah.
multi-talented.
Nice.
That's good.
I
We
think
like to
someone
see
is
that.
asking a question.
Yes.
Thank you. Apologies, my network was acting up. Um, so I think somebody is asking a question. So I think we can take about a few more questions, maybe like two. Oluwateniola, do you have a question? You might want to unmute your mic. I know you sent in like a text, but you might want to unmute your mic so that we can hear you if you're saying anything.
Or maybe she's shy. Maybe she wants us to read that question. Is she sending the question or?
Oh, okay, okay. Yes, she sent in a message. Okay. She said, please, as a presenter, how do you undo nerves before presenting? Oh, okay. That's actually a very beautiful question. I think she's asking, like, how do you handle you are nervous and you have a show to present? So how do you control that nervousness before going on your show so that it doesn't affect your show?
Before the truth answer that, I also propose the same question for the boy V, but in a different way. As an artist, how do you handle nerves going for an interview? Because I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Just going in order to get presented. How do you handle nerves? Going there. So the truth should answer the first one, and then you can answer the
Okay.
nerves as an artist.
Okay.
Can you
Yes, we
hear me?
can.
So I would have loved her to actually speak, because there are different kind of presenting. If it is radio where nobody is seeing you, it's easier. If it is video, you can also just present and it's not live, and it's
It's
just you and
recorded.
your videographer. Is recorded, and then there's another one that you will be on stage with crowd. There are three different arms of it, but let me just say the one with crowd, because I think that's the one that is most suitable, because you are facing people. I'm sorry, I can't use the mic. She's saying something. Wait, I'm sorry, I
Yes,
can't
she
use the
said
mic
she's sorry
because
she can't use the
okay,
mic because
okay,
it's kind of busy. I guess she's in a noisy place.
okay. So I would use the one of facing the crowd, because I feel like that's the one that you should be nervous about. If you are in
Mm-hmm.
the studio doing your jingle, you are not facing anybody, and then the other one you're not facing anybody, but facing the crowd. The first thing I would say is, one, it's either you pick just one face and look at that person, a face that is welcoming, that is smiling, somebody that feels like you are making sense, somebody that is relating, somebody that is nodding to you. Just focus on only that person. Every other person is listening to you. Or, some people, it's bad presenting when you are looking down. It's also bad presenting when you're looking up. That means you're trying to
Has to
avoid
be eye
people's face.
contact. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to. So sometimes you see even singers. I used to be an artist, all right, when I was in school. Even singers, sometimes they're looking at the crowd. You think they're looking at everybody. They're not looking at everybody. They're looking at one person that is welcoming. Either one person that is vibing to their song, or one person that is dancing, or one person that is just smiling and cheering them up. So in presenting, that person, when you're talking, that person that's nodding as if you are making sense, focus on that person. And I just think the nerves will reduce. You will now, it automatically now feels like you are talking one-on-one to that person. It doesn't now feel like there's crowd in the room again. I don't know. Somebody else should join.
Okay, that's nice. I think I'll just keep this in, since is what I do too. I feel like before you get on a show, you need to rehearse as a presenter. You need to rehearse. Like, I mean, it's your show. Maybe because I also act, but there's this formula that I believe so much in. You don't even need to have a show to do that. Your mirror should be like your best friend. You should always talk to, you should always get used to talking to people, talk to yourself, try and present. Because sometimes when you know, and I also feel like as a presenter, um, what also eats up or what makes nervousness obvious is when you cram what you want to say. So you're so nervous if I forget something, or like you need to be free. You need to own your show. You need to know, because sometimes there's this artist that said, I think it's maybe Two Face also, that said even the biggest artists still gets nervous before they get on stage, but there are different means. You can probably do some exercises. You can, just ginger yourself. Some people will do like some not so right way. Maybe they need to get high and all of that. But you, because of your kind of show, you are not going to perform and jump on stage. So you might want to do like some exercises, get familiar. And just like the Chidexi said, except is okay, so I'm going to give an example. It's a very funny example, but I mean, I always do that when I teach. I always give that example. So, I mean, I'm skinny, I'm not fat, and I studied theater arts. And normally, I used to shy away from mini skirts because I feel like I have very tiny legs, right? And in my final year, I had an assignment to perform on stage, and I was supposed to wear like a mini skirt. And you being on stage in front of a crowd, like your tiny legs will not be showing very well. But guess what? I mean, you can't predict the kind of audience you would have. Some people just say, Bonali is so slim. If you don't have control, you will forget your lines. You will forget, although that was acting, but I even feel like it's even harder because you have lines that you're supposed to render. But the truth is, you own your show. You need to turn deaf ears. You are the one speaking. You do the speaking. So you need to like suppress that nervousness, whichever way. If you need to go for exercise, you need to be prepared. And if it's a recorded show, I mean, you have the opportunity to retake. But I also tell people that don't get used to it, so that you don't say, oh, Shebi, I will retake, Shebi, I will retake. And I feel like, just if it's something you love to do, ensure you keep rehearsing. Before you know it, you get better at it. And just like Chidexi said, I feel like when you're looking at the crowd, I can be looking at you, but I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at everybody. I'm not seeing one person. So even if you are pointing at me, you are talking, I can hear voices, I can see people, but I'm not looking at you, so you can't distract me. So I feel like it's just something you need to work on intentionally, by rehearsing, speaking to the mirror yourself, preparing, and just practicing some exercises. If it's one thing you love to do, then I mean, your passion will conquer the nervousness somehow, somehow. So yeah, that boy D,
let,
I know you were asked
let
a
me say
question
something.
too.
Let me say something. So for me, yeah,
Okay.
all these things that you guys have said, they happen. They are true. But there's sometimes where it almost I don't think you can be 100% prepared for for something. Once your nerves kick in, they kick in. So what motivates me actually? I feel like you just need to find what motivates you. Different thing works for different people. But for me, what motivates me is, you see, that fear of failing or fear of messing up. When you think of what you stand to lose, I'm like, no, guy, you need to put your head into this thing and deliver. There are many times when I tell people I'm a very, very shy person, but they don't believe me because I always have that moment before I climb the stage. I'm like, guy, see, if you mess up for a year, you trend for a negative reason. So I'm like, no, 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 I won't let this happen. There are many babes here that you don't want to disappoint. So that's
So
what
the
works for
babes
me.
are your own motivation. Nice. Okay.
I just use that as an example. Yeah, those people can trend your matter
For me, I'm just oh,
actually.
that's guarantee. For me, I think nerves is part of the process. Um, I don't think there's anybody that don't have or get nerves once it kicks in. But you just need to understand that it's part of the process. Like there's no level you get to. Even the likes of the Beyonces, she did 50 something odd shows back to back last year. Every single show there was nerves. Different crowd, different audience, different grounds. Nerves is part of the process. It's part of the build up. So anytime you get the nerves, just believe, just know that it's part of the process and just go and deliver. What matters is just to start. Once you start, you even forget midway that the nerves was there. It's to start. It's always part of the process. Whether you can get comfortable in terms of as a presenter is your shoe, so it's your ground. You bring in audience, they come into your space. But what happens when you leave your comfort zone when it's not your space and you go to somewhere bigger, a bigger platform, something you've not done before, but it's still in the line of presenting, then the nerves will kick in. But always still know it is part of the process. And once you do that, another stage again, whether it's for example from BB Niger, you go there, you travel to another place, and you still have the nerves. But what will also keep you guarded is your experience, because your experience, and again, going back to the knowledge, going back to when you open your mouth, you tell people who you are. And that means your experience will kick in no matter what, no matter where the nerves is. As far as there's knowledge, as far as you have a reservoir of knowledge. As long as, again, you've studied to show yourself approved, the knowledge will burst forth as soon as you open your mouth. Whether be it is even presenting, whether be it is an artist performing, be it is whatever it is. Again, once you step there, what then continues now is all the closed door activities that you've done, all the building, all the grinding. Then people will start seeing it and it becomes magic to people. People start looking at you and be like, "Ah, this person is talented, this person is skillful, this person is this." But what they're seeing is the performance of all the building you've been, all the closed door, all the studying, all all the performance you've been doing closed door that people are now seeing. And then that's when they see the glory. That's when they say, When did you start?" And then you tell them, "Oh, but he's been there," and that's what you're giving out to people. It doesn't mean you were not nervous. Even while they're asking you, even while some people are still like blown away, your nerves might still be there kicking in, but they're blown away because what is actually coming out are things that you've put into preparation that they're seeing firsthand, in place. So the nerves is part of the process. I won't tell you that I will go away because there'll be different platform that will bring the nerves. Even if it's your comfort ground of bringing people in and you don't get nervous, there will be a stage you will get to where something will kick in. The fear will kick in, but it's the fear of progress. If your dream don't scare you, they say it means you're not dreaming enough. And it's not a dream that you dream while you're snoring. It's the dream that keeps you up at night. If it doesn't scare you, then you're not dreaming enough. So when you get that nerves, just know that it's another dream that's about to unlock into reality that you're about to step into. And that's part of the process. It's not weird. You're not a weird person for being nerves. It is part of the process. It means you're doing something that's about to change. Again, the paradigm is about to change, your position at that point in time.
So sorry, I quickly want to chip in.
Oh,
Something
okay.
something happened while on the show, the Niger Spirit Talent on. This was from the comedians that came up on stage one of the weeks. So these comedians dropped a joke about Licorice is one of the judges. He dropped a joke about Licorice being in the house, and that sensitive topic about her and Ima in the house. So while they brought it up, this was them following their script. While they brought it up, Licorice walked out of the show. And as she walked out of the show, I have to commend those comedians. It was for them, it was like, oh, more, we're done for. But then the show has to go on. What happens if your show is not going according to your script? So they kept, as in, they fired on their next joke and as if nothing happened. So that composure, fine, we saw it in them that, oh, more, we saw the nerves and everything came out. But that composure to, you also need to understand that the show needs to go on. Having that mindset would help you. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I just want to say thank you again. I hope that your question has been answered and the answers have been helpful so far. Oluwatemiola. I just want to say thank you to our speakers. Thank you so much for, creating time out of your busy schedule. Okay, Oluwateniola said, after being able to handle your nerve before presenting and you're able to maintain confidence throughout the presentation, how do you make a lasting impact on the audience without blanking out or making it boring for the audience? My last question, please. So I think briefly, I think I'll just say that this has also been answered, you know, while trying to answer your last question. I feel like if you've conquered your nerves, and just like Boy V said, that you should always remember like what is there to there's something to lose. In his case, he knows that if he doesn't do it well, like it's going to be a shame and it's probably going to trend for the wrong reasons. And he also just give an example now. So I feel like when you conquer your nerves and preparedness, there's this thing that opportunities when opportunities meet preparedness, then it's like it's magical, because I mean you are prepared and then there's an opportunity. Imagine what would happen. So you need to prepare, you need to rehearse, and then once you rehearse and then you take into consideration what has just been suggested on controlling your nerves, then I feel like it's going to be a lot helpful. You know why you're knowing your purpose. You know that you want to stand out, you want to. So when you know your purpose, you're going to create something outstanding, and when you present something outstanding, of course you're going to be impacting the audience. So I feel like that your question has been answered in between. But
So I
he's
want to add,
raising his
I
hand.
want, can you hear me? I want to
Okay,
add
so
something.
okay, briefly. Okay.
So to answer her very well, there's something your boss said. What keeps you is your intellect, is your knowledge, is your wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you're able to conquer your nerve, the next thing people are looking at is what is
That's
coming
the
out from
picture.
your mouth. And then once you have what is coming out of your mouth and it's okay and it's something everybody wants to listen, the whole house will be quiet listening to you. Two things you will be hearing. Either you're hearing clap or you're hearing tears, cry rather. I'm telling you. Or you're
Mm.
hearing wow. Everybody will be quiet. Sometimes, I'm talking about this based on because I'm also a speaker. I go for public speaking. Sometimes I come out, I look smallish, right? And I greet everybody. And the first 2 minutes, we are still getting to know ourselves. And when I start, everywhere is quiet because I have what to say. Of course, different crowd comes with different coldness. Some people are talking while you're talking. It can destabilize you. But when you start hitting the point, everybody will be quiet to hear you talk. And you will just go on.
Mm.
Let me just quickly chip in. Yeah, there's every tendency for you to like black out even after you've controlled your nerves and everything. What you can do, you have a very very good catchphrase that can um you know engage your audience, or something that once you say okay, you just have it during your show that you just say, engage the audience, just the short catchphrase that people will respond to. That time you are using it to re-strategize in your mind. Sure, you get, you're trying to strategize in your mind. Okay, what's the next thing to do? How do I end this show quickly like that? So I feel like that's what she was asking.
Okay, thank you so much. I know that, we our time is fast spent, but thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much. And I really hope that, intending presenters in the house have learned a lot, because even me as a presenter, I've learned a lot. So I don't want to see how you as an intending presenter will not have learned, a few things from our speakers. So I just want to say on behalf of Afrobeats Global, we want to say thank you so much to our speakers for setting out this time and, filling us with knowledge, more knowledge. We really appreciate you. And for speaker, for intending presenters, I mean, we have programs, training programs for intending presenters. So you can have this is like a free class and all, a free session. So you can reach out to us via our Instagram at Afrobeats Global. We have sessions, training sessions for intending presenters, so you can learn more in detail rather. So thank you so much. I think it's I should bring this to an end. And thank you so much. Thank you so much to our CEO too
Shoot.
for being on the move and still attending. And to
Thank
Chidexi, I know how your schedule is. And Boy V, thank you so much. We really appreciate. Thank you.
No problem.
Special thanks, Chidima. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, your boy V. Hopefully we can connect, a bit more. I think I've started following both of you as well. Please, you can
Mm.
please anyone on the call as well. Follow them if you like, if you love them, or if you're following them already. Continue to show some love and support. Oh, Balaba, thank you. I know you are flying to different places and you also joined in. Thank for anchoring and thank for hosting. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you,
And yeah,
sir.
enjoy your weekend.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Do have an
Thank
amazing
you.
day.
Please, though, if you want
All
to know
right.
what I sound like, check me out on all streaming platforms. Just search for Boy V. You see me there.
Boy V, I'll check you out. I'm intrigued. I want to know what you sound like actually. I'm intrigued.
Thank you, sir. My
Uh,
namesake.
All right,
Namesake
don't worry.
me.
I'll send a message to you, and Chidima, I'll
No
send the
problem.
message. I'll send the
All right.
message across. All right, all
thank you
right.
so
Chidima,
much.
Bye.
nice
Thank
background, by the way.
you. Thanks.
Uh, bye.
Thank you.